Hello and welcome to the Insync Insurance podcast. I'm your host, Dawn Cross, and today we'll be interviewing Karen Peake, who owns her own beauty business. So to start off with, could you introduce yourself for us?
Yes, of course. So I am Karen Peake of Karen Peake Aesthetics, SPMU and Training Limited. I am based in Chandlersford in Southampton. My business was established 8 years ago. Since then, I would say I started off with permanent makeup. I started teaching that pretty soon after I started. Well, I say pretty soon, 2 years after I started, with a very well-known training company, Finishing Touches. 2 years after that, I sort of just literally ploughed any sort of income back into the company. So continued to train, and then decided to add aesthetics about 4 years ago now. And I just think it works hand in hand, especially for the amount of knowledge that I had to have in order to teach. It was a natural progression for me. So now I encompass everything. You'll notice in the sort of way that I explain the business, it's training as well. However, what I have done more recently is tailored that to bespoke packages. So master classes, one-to-one classes to really bring people on in their knowledge and skill, and business mentorship as well. I think that's missing. A lot of people will train in the given sector and then they don't actually know where to start when it comes to running a business. So I sort of incorporate that in with my training.
Oh wow, that sounds amazing, and it's really great that you've seen where there's kind of gaps as you've kind of worked in the industry to help others who are starting out, which is really amazing and nice to hear actually.
Definitely. A lot of question when people are looking to offer masterclasses or to go on a masterclass, they generally will ask, oh, how do I know if I will be successful? Can you guarantee? That's not on me. Like, I can train a skill set quite easily. I can't train that sort of drive that it takes to start a business. And I think if you speak to any business owner in any sector of work, it takes commitment, it takes drive, passion. You have to love what you're doing, and you have to have patience and strength, purely because there's going to be a lot of hurdles. I mean, given the last 2 to 3 years, that was a rather large hurdle globally.
Yeah, definitely.
But you have to keep ploughing on, and you have to keep developing yourself, your company. Just keep going with it. Focus on your own lane and keep going with it.
That's really fab advice. So I think just to start off with, for any of our audience who maybe is quite unsure, what is actually like semi-permanent makeup?
Okay, so semi-permanent in itself is quite misleading. It's quite controversial because our American counterparts basically will argue the fact it's permanent makeup. And I'll be honest with you, I agree with them. Reason being, anything that breaks the skin and adds pigmentation to the top layer of the skin is a form of tattooing. Semi-permanent makeup to me gives the premise that it's actually not permanent, it's semi, and it will completely disappear. Now, whenever you have semi-permanent makeup, depending on which layer of the skin the technician works on, shall we say, so if you're new, you may not know your skin levels, there will be a degree of pigmentation left in the skin. So I do agree with our American counterparts, and I agree it is permanent makeup, but it is commonly known in the UK as semi-permanent makeup. And it's a technique whereby you can implant medical grade pigment to any area. It could be cosmetic, so you can have eyebrows, eyeliner, lips, and for medical reasons as well. So all of these are part of what I have, what I offer and what I teach. So you can have breast reconstruction, so something really close to my heart. I actually have an Areola foundation set up after my nan's name, legacy, whatever you would like, and that was actually part of my reasoning for coming into permanent makeup in the first place. And obviously vitiligo, so skin conditions you can work on as well, hair restoration. So all of these things I've literally just kept learning and adding to my business and my skill set, which sort of leads me to where we are today. So I've had a busy 8 years.
No, it sounds really impressive. So you mentioned a bit about your nan. If you don't mind, could I ask a little bit more? Because I wanted to know a bit more about what made you go into this type of beauty business. Obviously, everyone gets asked about career stuff, and you know, a lot of people like to know the whys.
Yeah, of course. So I'm quite open about this as well, because I'm proud about the sort of road that I've taken on the way in, and everyone has their own reasons for setting up different businesses. So basically, when my son was born, I was like, right, if I'm going to leave him, I need to do something I absolutely love. I used to do a lot of high profile jobs, if you like, where you commit so many hours. So estate agency, I was in that for 10 years. Following that, I was in recruitment. So all of these, you really have to work so many hours, including the evenings, including the weekends. So it was really important to me that my new vocation, career, and I did see it as that complete career change, it was really important that that was something that I could balance rather than live at work. My son was born, and I was like, right, if I leave this special human, it has to be for the right reasons. Now, sadly, before my son was born, my nan passed away. She was like a second mum to me. She's a lovely lady. Now, she was always in the forefront of supporting breast cancer charities. And whenever we were out or we were going around town, she would always like grab us, you know, like the bands that go around your wrist, or the slap bands. You know, we're like kids. It was fun to buy all the pink stuff, pink ribbon. So she always absolutely supported that. She had a lot of friends. She's a really sociable lady. So she'd lost a lot of people to that as well. Sadly, it was bowel cancer that got to my nan, not breast cancer. But when she died, obviously I was left some monies, and it was something that I really thought, like, I want to do something. I want to give something back. Like, I wouldn't have the opportunity to do something like this unless she'd passed, and that's really sad. But anyone's first investment into permanent makeup, it's a large one. It's a large risk to take. I think my first course was £7,500. So you can see how you would need an initial investment in order to start that business. So basically, on her passing, I contacted Finishing Touches, who I still speak to today, and the amazing lady at the end of the phone, probably the only person, apart from the mentors that I've met along the way, who said, Karen, I've got to tell you, if you just train in breast work, you won't make a business out of it. I highly recommend you train in semi-permanent makeup first. Brows, again, weren't really a thing. Funnily enough, I'd already had mine done at that point, and they were horrendous, I must add, because it's come a long way. You know, literally when I had mine done, it was literally, they were drawn on and tattooed quickly, and they were the horrendous sort of, you know, the lines? Yeah, they were tattooed. Obviously, they've come a long way, they've grown. But basically, that's what I had already, so I knew about it. And I thought, right, okay, if that's what you're saying, we need to do the permanent makeup first. But I would done that always with the mindset, I'm going to work in breast work. I'm going to work with surgeons. I'm going to help these ladies have back what they never asked to be taken away. And that was really important to me. So within 6 months of my initial training, which is tough going, like, yes, you're given the skill set, you're not given, you know, it's impossible to learn until you're on the job, the depths, and, you know, what shading technique is best, what needle is best. There's so much to take in, and I think people really they misinterpret what the job is sometimes, and they think it's easy and you're just drawing on. It's nothing to do with that, you know, it's nothing to do with that. This is such a big deal for these ladies that you're working on, whether you're doing a breast reconstruction, brow reconstruction. This is a huge thing. When a client comes to you and they trust you with their breast or their face, if they've got an inkling that they think, oh, you know, does this person really know what they're doing? Sadly, I have a lot of reconstruction in my clinic. I have a laser room as well. So sadly, a lot of the time we have to laser before we then continue the work. And I've had all sorts of reconstructions, from hair to breast to brow. Sadly, it's really common. So it's so important to make sure that you're working with the right training company, if you like, from the off. And yeah, that's something that we're working on at the moment, behind the scenes, is something whereby you can approach and ask, you know, where can we go? Because myself, I offer masterclasses, so you need to be trained already in order to come to me. Whereas I can give you an idea of where to go for the people that will offer the foundation courses, so you're going along the right path. And that's something I wish I had all of those years ago, as someone to say to me, Karen, this is what you need to do. This is the path to take. So yeah, I hope that's a full and informative answer.
No, it was an absolutely fabulous answer. And as well, it's especially with everything going on in the industry at the minute, it's so key to find that right training provider that really kind of goes through things with you and makes you feel confident to go out into the world. I
would even say on that note, I feel for people getting into the industry now, because it's an absolute minefield. I've seen courses out there for £500. If we bear in mind, for me, when I take a day out of the clinic for a masterclass, I don't make as much money as I would in clinic still. So it has to be the right person. So I actually interview the person before they come and train with me, because I need to know what they want. I need to know if I can help them, which generally I can, because all they're missing, sadly, is your basic knowledge. Or like they'll be using the wrong needle, or they'll be going in at the wrong angle. And that's aesthetics and permanent makeup. It'll be the little things where they've gone to training and it's like 10-to-1 mentorship. That's insane to me. Every training I've ever been on, bar one, has been 2-to-1, 1-to-1. Pay the extra money. You're going to get a 1-to-1 service. And I'm proud to say all of my girls still, people I've trained 5 years ago, they still come back to me now. They still get that 1-to-1 service. They're still on my WhatsApp. And do you know what? They don't ask questions every day, but they've got the access to me if they need to. And I think that's the difference, because the £500 courses, believe me, you won't get an answer. You won't get support out of them after. And they probably would have gone bust by the time you come back to complain about it.
Oh, yeah.
Sad. Very, very sad, but it's very, very common. So hopefully, I know because we're working on it at the moment. At the moment, we have something whereby this is really going to cut that situation loose, because it's a minefield and it's not fair, especially when people have paid a lot of money for the training and then been given that same sort of level. So a 10-to-1 where they don't even know about complications, or a massive chunk of their training is missing, and it puts them on the back foot before their career has even started.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. Literally, you've answered like almost the rest of my questions like very easily for that entire convo. No, it's fine. It's amazing because you're on it. You know what you want to talk about, and it's actually really refreshing. I wonder if you could speak to me a bit more about your areola and hair follicle reconstruction treatments, because obviously you say that obviously it tends to be a bit more of a free service that you give, and other people give. If you just love a bit more info on that.
We start with breast work to completely do two different things, both generally for medical reasons, but very, very different paths that the clientele would have been down in order to get where they're coming. So I started breast work, like I said, about 6 months after I initially trained, so about 7 years ago or so ish, give or take a few months. I know we lost a few years with the pandemic, so 7-ish. And basically it's something, like I said, that was the forefront of what I wanted to do. I wanted to do that before permanent makeup, but I had that bit of structuring from my lovely colleague on the phone saying, no, you need to do makeup first. I took it upon myself at that time to decide I don't want to charge for this. The way that I see it, the ladies who need the breast reconstruction, they sadly have been on such a journey and they've had so much taken from them already that actually, by the time they get to having the breast tissue removed, that's caused them all the issues, they're already, about as low on their immunity and sort of how they're feeling in themselves, that they just need to get through and head the other side of the journey, if you like. So I decided very early I'm not going to charge for the service. Now, the fact that I have such an incredible business gives me the freedom to do that. So I'm really, really grateful for that. And I always continue to tell all of my ladies that come to me for all of the cosmetic work and the aesthetics, don't forget, you're really giving back by coming to me, because you allow me to do those work on those ladies for free. I wouldn't be able to do it if my business wasn't successful. I wouldn't be able to offer my time for free, and I can, and I love it. And now, every GP referral, specialist referral, surgeon referral, every time I get that referral through the door, and I always ask where they've come from, it's just a little bit of a blessing to me to give back. And I'm a firm believer as well, if you put good out there, you will get good back. And yeah, it's a nice thing to do. Breast work, by the time they come to this, they've already been through all of their treatment, they've had the breast reconstruction, and you're literally adding, excuse the pun, the cherry onto the cake. That's what a lot of them say. You're literally finishing off my look. Some of them have nipple reconstruction, some of them don't. So you really are finishing off the beautiful piece of artwork. Now, there's been so much hoo-ha, if you like, in social media with us being able to display our work. I myself was actually blocked for 30 days over a Christmas period about 3 years ago, so our busiest time. I couldn't even speak to my clients because I'd actually put a video, or it might have been a video clip or a photo, on some of my breast work, and because Facebook had taken it down time and time again, even though we put on there, post mastectomy, this doesn't go against your rules and regulations, we are allowed to post these things. Sadly, like I said, I was blocked for 30 days, which had a massive impact on my business. And it's crazy, but what I am happy about is the lady that I chose to teach me this. Her name's Vicky Martin. And most people would have heard of her. She's absolutely incredible. She's an absolute force, and the mindset that this lady has, I'm very, very proud to say she is one of my mentors. Her work is incredible, and if you're looking for training, I would always say in any area, go to the person that you've been watching. You love their work, you love how they are, and I had all of that with Vicky, and I couldn't wait to train with her, and I feel very blessed that I did. She gave me a fantastic skill. It's the 3D technique that I offer, and I absolutely enjoy doing it. I really thoroughly enjoy doing it. So there's not even like a limit to what I do a month. If I've got 3 or 4 ladies, if I've got 10 ladies, I really don't mind. I literally just get them in, pop them into my day, and the reward for me at the end of it, when they see what you've done, they don't have any words. They're like, I can't thank you enough. And it's a really rewarding job. And let's not forget, that was my whole reason for going into it. So I will always do that. As long as I'm, physically able to, I will always do the breast work. It's amazing. So we could go on to scalp. I'm smiling away because I just know how many lives I've changed in that time. Also teaching, I've gone into the breast care unit in Glasgow or Edinburgh. Basically, when I was working with Finishing Touches, they sent me up there to teach 2 breast nurses. That I now know that actually those 2 nurses alone would have, worked on so many different ladies. It's life changing. So that was really rewarding as well, just knowing that they'll be able to continue to give. Really nice concept as well. So I stopped smiling about that, which is I love it. So moving on to hair reconstruction. So I was really, really blessed enough to meet the number one and train with the number one SMP technician in the world. He is at the moment, Matt Yulo. He came over and he taught maybe 5 or 6 of us. And I was lucky enough to be one of them. It was really, really crazy time. No one had heard of it. Hair reconstruction and scalp hadn't hit the UK at all. I must say that, at all. And Matt Yulo come over to work with Finishing Touches and work with us. And I was like, this is an area I want to invest in. Again, when I had my son, I was really affected personally by hair loss. I was breastfeeding, and like a lot of ladies, when you have a new child, your hair's falling out anyway. When I used to put it up in a ponytail, my sort of side areas would go right back to the point I started wearing headbands. So that was something which really personally affected me. So I could immediately see why you would have it done. And I thought, wow, it looks like magic, and it is magic. So this is something I invested in at the time. And it's great for everyone. So males, females, long hair, short hair, everything in between, whether it's just scattering around the front if you're a lady who wears your hair up, whether it's alopecia when you've got a small patch, a large patch, all over, if it's a guy with alopecia and they have any type of hair loss we can work with. And it just went hand in hand with my with everything else that I was doing. So again, it's really, really, really rewarding. I do charge for that service because it takes so long, and also there is a permanent and a semi-permanent option, so they can have it for around about 2 years. They can have the permanent option, they'll need a review every 10 years, but it is one of the most eye-opening and life-changing training that I've done. However, it's not my main market at all, but it's really, really rewarding. I think anything, the vitiligo, skin camouflage, again, it's life-changing for those who need it. So I love having a whole medical side to my business and a whole cosmetic side, and then the aesthetics on top of that. Everything just works really, really well, and I would guess is why the business does so well itself.
No, that sounds really amazing, and the fact that you're so passionate as well helps really showcase how proud you are of your work, but also the willingness to make sure that it's absolutely top notch for your customers as well. Definitely. Some people just go, oh yeah, that's fine, and everything else, but you're saying you've trained with some of the most top people as well, which sounds amazing.
Opportunity. One thing I would say, like a message to any new technicians out there, that have done one course and they're like, I don't know why my work doesn't look quite as I want it. Keep reinvesting in yourself. It's so important. I can honestly say for the first 5 or 6 years, probably 5 or 6 years, I literally didn't have, I didn't go and buy the handbag that I wanted. I didn't go and buy, luxury things, because I knew I had to plow it back into my business to give it the level that it needed, to get it to the level that it needed to be. And I did that. I kept reinvesting. I've actually got, in my clinic, I display all but about 12 of my certificates, because when people come in and they're in the waiting area, they can then see everything that I've done in my time, which at the moment is just totaled over £100,000 worth of training. So I know my stuff. And this again is why some people say, have you heard of something reassuringly expensive when you go for a treatment, or you go to buy the best handbag, or you can apply that to any part of life, can't you, really? And yes, because my price is reflective of the amount of training that I've done. And it can even be down to aftercare. My aftercare is completely different to anyone else in my area. And I know that because I've taken 4 courses, 4 pieces of information, I've rolled it all together, and that's my aftercare package. So I know that what I'm putting out there is worth what they're paying me in return. And all I can say to any newbies, keep investing in yourself and you won't go far wrong, because your clientele will follow what you're doing and they'll be impressed with what you're doing, and they'll keep coming back because they keep wanting the new upgraded version of whatever you were doing last year.
Speaking of knowledge, actually, for any people kind of cracking into the industry, do you have any other kind of tips or advice for those who are just starting out?
Yes, it is a massive minefield. And I feel for you guys at the moment, because it's even more of a minefield than it was when I started. I would say go for the people that you've been watching for a while. Research, find out their aftercare package, because if you've got someone who's going to just train the skill set and then never answer your phone call again, believe me, this industry is very, very lonely. Once you're trained, once you're in your own clinic, you are alone. There are forums. I don't find forums helpful. I think they're toxic. I think you've got lots of people that know a lot and lots of people that don't, and they're the ones that tend to argue. I don't get involved. I don't watch. I don't look. If I'm added, I don't add myself. I just think there are so many different ways to educate yourself. Forums aren't the one. But it's really nice to see the beautiful work, when things do go right. That's a really positive thing. So look at different people who you want to train with, learn about those people, learn about their businesses. Are they good businesses? Are they successful in themselves? Because if they're not, then you're investing the wrong sort of you're investing in the wrong people, because they're not going to help you get on your feet. It's very different to learn a skill set and go out and do it yourself than to learn a skill set and start developing a business. And this is probably the toughest market there has ever been in my, certainly in my time. And I'm very, very blessed that I've got that 8 years behind me, because they're the people that when it's slightly quieter, they keep me going. If you're starting out alone, you've got not got a clue where to go to. There are now another 100 people in your area that are doing the same thing, starting out the same as you. So just make sure you've got that level of support after, because I would say, actually, yes, you pay a lot of money to be at a good course, but at the same time, that aftercare and that, could I have done anything different with this set? And this lady's saying this, what do I say back? That's the bit you're going to need, and that's the bit that I've had with all my trainees, and I always will have. And with my masterclass trainees now, for me it was important to cut out the foundation training, because I love to perfect things. So when I see someone who's got great techniques but I could make them better, that's exciting to me, and that's why I dropped the foundation training, and now I teach the masterclasses, and I absolutely love it. And I've met some incredible people along that journey, and people that I know I've helped, and that's where I get my sort of gratitude, and I feel blessed to have met these people and to have helped them on their journey, because I know it's both ways. And as much as I love teaching them, they've loved what they've taken away, and I see that when they review my training and stuff, and that's really, really another level of job satisfaction for me.
That sounds absolutely amazing, and it's really good advice as well. I don't really see much in terms of obviously you said with the forums, there's lots of forums out there, but I think especially if people don't want to join them, that's really good advice to hear from someone else in the industry, instead of just you need to do only certain this course and stuff like that, when actually it's just such a refreshing perspective. Is there anything else you'd like to mention before we wrap up the episode?
I live with the mindset, you have to take the risk. There's going to be some that pull off, there's going to be some risks that don't. I've been very lucky. Every risk I've always taken has always pulled off, and that's how I live. I wouldn't like to not take the risk and never know if it would have worked or not. So always take the risk.
A big thank you to my guest Karen for sharing her insight on semi-permanent makeup and micropigmentation treatments that she does within her own business. If you'd like to know more, head to our website insyncinsurance.co.uk, where we have more on our blog with posts written by our brilliant experts. I've been your host, Stormcross, and tune in next week for another episode. Insync is one of the UK's fastest growing insurance providers, offering comprehensive covers for SMEs and the self-employed across the UK. Our expert team can tailor your insurance to meet your individual business needs and compare prices from our Lloyd's of London approved partners.